Twice last night, Dallas could have been the landing spot for two hijacked jets. Bad weather spoiled one landing, and another hijacked plane passed over Dallas and went on to southeast Texas. The first hijacked plane flew from Oklahoma City to Dallas and back, and that incident ended this morning with the hijacker's surrender. But the other hijacking dragged on, marred by violence. Two air pirates, armed with shotguns, commandeered a National Airlines flight from Philadelphia. It headed toward Dallas and then finally landed at Lake Jackson, south of Houston. We have a report from there.
The names of the hometowns on the backs of the traditional jackets of the FFA members are not those familiar to most persons either outside or inside the state of Texas, for that matter. But some 5,000 of the young people are in the waning minutes of their 44th annual state convention in Dallas. For years, the Future Farmers of America has been an organization exclusively for men actively seeking a career in farming or ranching. Now the scope of the organization has changed with the flight from the rural to the urban areas. Women are now allowed to join. I talked with Kayla Kothmann about the role of women in the FFA and Dick Hutchins about the new scope of the organization.
Well, I see that a lady is going to have to become a part of this nation because, as everyone knows, the farms and ranches are decreasing and cities are growing throughout the nation, and this is something that's going to have to be because if the men aren't going to do it, the ladies are going to have to take over.
Actually, about less than 25% of the members of the Future Farmers of America will actually become future, farmers in the future. And these boys will go into occupations in agricultural-related occupations such as working for a feed store, veterinary clinic, selling agricultural supplies.
With the changing times, there appears to be a movement underfoot here at the convention to change the name of the organization. A lot of people would like to remove the word farmer from the title and make it the Future Agribusinessmen of America, thus encompassing the overall scope now of the organization. It appears now, however, that the old line traditionalists will win out and the name will remain the same. Cherry Park, Channel 8 News, on the move. The FFA Convention, Dallas Memorial Auditorium.
Well, of course, that's in the hands of our council, and I'm not completely versed on what their attitude will be. I know that there's a difference of opinion as to whether the agreement is taxable or not, and exactly what course our council will follow, I don't know, but I'm sure that the matter will be questioned.
When you get your first tax statement from the Irving School Board, in which file will you put it?
Well, I'll just pass it along to those that pay bills.
Home sweet home for a world-famous tiger trainer like Charles Bauman isn't what you might think. Charlie, along with about 300 other circus folk in Dallas this week, calls the Barnum and Bailey circus train his home.
I love it. I tried everything. I tried to live in the hotels and doing traveling with circus. I live on a trailer. My big trailer is 32 feet long, but nothing beats train living. First of all, for me, I got a long day of work when the circus is in town, and the only time I really get a day's rest is when the train is traveling.
Charlie and his wife have a suite with a living room, kitchen, and a separate bedroom and shower. However, not everybody in the circus lives this high. Showgirls and clowns squeeze into a compartment like this one, and that's their home. The circus main office ride the rails, and the train's pie car serves as social and dining hall for all the circus folk. Sometimes the pie car dishes up entertainment as well as pie.
Give me home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Home, home on the range, the deer and the antelope play. Seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Hope the cops don't see this.
Sunday night, the circus will have its last performance. After that, the circus folk will pack their things, get on the train, and the big train will pull off into the night. The next stop, Phoenix. Now, after all this, you're probably wondering what it's like to live on a train. Well, on this one, it's sort of like a three-ring circus. For Channel 8 News on the Move, this is Arch Campbell.
We're listening to him. Theories back and forth.
No, she goes in there, you were gone.
Oh, see, we're...
The building.
He is the youngest White House staff member and serves
The skyjacker then allowed the passengers to leave and the plane took off again. But in the air over Oklahoma City, Fisher surrendered to a stewardess, ending without violence one of last night's hijackings. Martha McIntire, Channel 8 News on the Move at Dallas Love Field.
When Dallas sheriff's officers made their early morning bed check at the county jail, everyone was present and accounted for. Then a building security guard spotted 3 inmates trying to slide down a homemade rope from their 8th floor cell. One of the prisoners, 27-year-old James Edward Clayton, fell from his 3rd-story perch and fractured his leg. Another prisoner, 24-year-old Eddie Barnes, got down to the ground, only to be captured by waiting sheriff's deputies. Jack Deitch Jr., the 3rd member of the trio, told Dallas officers he wasn't coming down without a ladder, so Dallas firemen obliged him. Dallas Sheriff Clarence Jones told me the men had used hacksaw blades to cut a 10 by 14-inch hole in the steel plate at the top of their cell, and they had crawled between floors to get to an outside window. Jones says that recent court orders have his men hamstrung in trying to keep certain materials out of his jail.
That is our plan to set a code of ethics and also have our own grievance committee so that we can go forward with policing our own operation and put it back into the context of a professional bondsman association as opposed to any and every one operating as such.
What percentage of participation do you expect of the bondsmen in Dallas?
I would imagine 70 to 75% will participate in our organization.
I have a feeling I may be wrong that this thing is going in the direction that the Commissioner's Court and the City Council have been trying to get it to go. So I feel rather encouraged.
There are thousands of young Americans like yourselves who are working in the mainstream of politics. There are thousands of sensitive and courageous and thoughtful young men who serve in the armed forces. They are like you. You are the people who make up the mainstream of America, maybe much to your surprise. You constitute the mainstream of American life. Yours is the spirit and the perspective that continue to attract foreigners to this land to the tune of numbers that we cannot take into the country in terms of immigrants. Yours is the majority that will constructively meet the challenges of today's and tomorrow's problems